Welcome to the cult of toxic productivity, where the goal isn't just to work hard, it's to turn every second of your life into a performance review. It's 4 a.m, the rest of us are still unconscious, but this guy has already bathed his face, did push-ups for 1 minute at 4 a.m, journaled like he's going to do a TED talk at noon, and spent 4 minutes mid-air jumping into a pool. And if that's not enough, here's a guy that thought 7 days in a week isn't ambitious enough, so he decided to turn it into 21.
My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy. You're crazy for thinking it takes 24 hours, just like some dude in a cave did 300 years ago. My second day starts at noon and goes till 6 p.m. That's day 2. And then the next day is 6 p.m. to midnight. What I've done now is I have changed and manipulated time. I now get 21 days a week. Stack that up over a month, I'm gonna kick your butt. Stack it up over a year, you're toast. Stack it up over 5 years, my entire life is different than it would have been otherwise.
We've seen this guy on this channel before. It still makes no sense to me. What do you mean? Toxic productivity isn't just about getting things done. It's about turning downtime into a problem and treating your life like it's under constant assessment. And lately it feels like it's everywhere. You cannot scroll for more than 30 seconds without seeing some hyper-polished morning routine that starts before sunrise, or a podcast telling you you're wasting your potential if you're not cold plunging before breakfast. This isn't new. We've all seen this before. Hustle culture has just had a glow up, a rebrand. We went from Tumblr quotes and like the rise and grind phase to green juice in a $60 glass and supplements that cost more than your weekly groceries. It's been repackaged as wellness and self-improvement, but underneath it's all the same. The message is, if you're not constantly improving, you are worthless and you're falling behind. And a big part of this whole culture is just selling you stuff that you don't need to fill the void that's left behind in a world where the things that you want and need are increasingly out of reach. You can't afford a house, your job and your work eats up the free time that you would be spent doing things that recharge your batteries, like hobbies or rest, and hanging out with the people that you love feels like a logistical nightmare because all of their time is being eaten up as well. But here's a $200 light therapy lamp that promises to fix your problems. A light therapy lamp that mimics the big light that we've all got just straight out there, right outside, the sun. Here's a premium habit tracker app or something that will totally change your life if you just commit to using it forever. None of it gives you the security, the connection, or the rest that you biologically need, but it does a great job at distracting you from the fact that you are never going to get those things under the current system that we live in. Plus it buys some tech bro his 18th yacht, and that's the whole point. So today I want to look at how we got here to begin with, and why this grind set has gotten so much more intense over the past few years, and why the pressure to optimize every single second of our daily lives is unsurprisingly making things worse. Back in like the early to mid 2010s, hustle culture was loud and proud. We had the girl boss era, we had endless Tumblr and Pinterest boards telling us to rise and grind, and like an unspoken competition on who could romanticize their burnout the best. Then there was a cultural pushback, and minimalism and slow living started to trend, promising less stress and more intention, and for a while it kind of felt like we were all taking a collective breath. Then the 2020s hit. Between economic instability, rising costs of living, and algorithm-fueled fear, hustle culture came back real fast. Only this time it was wearing athleisure and calling it wellness and optimization. And you can basically thank the pandemic for the wellness rebrand of hustle culture. With offices closed and life moved inside, people started following highly aesthetic at-home routines, morning yoga before opening a laptop, home gyms in the spare room, sourdough starters, skincare rituals, and all of these things doubled as productivity hacks. The pandemic-related work from home era blurred the lines between work and life, and social media was flooded with content that blurred the lines between looking after yourself and relentlessly improving yourself. Needless to say, the wellness industry capitalized on this and leaned in hard, selling supplements, apps, trackers, and programs as the key to surviving in an uncertain world. Obviously, underneath the matcha lattes and the beige backgrounds, it was the same hustle culture and grind set as before, but it was just dressed up as balance this time. It's like the old school Protestant work ethic repackaged for millennials and Gen Z. From the girl boss era to the pandemic to the content economy that now monetizes our every waking second, the message in all of it was the same, and that is that your value is tied to your output, your economic output. And under capitalism, that will always be the main message that is sent out to the masses. Again, 18th yacht for the tech bros, we need those. It's very important. And when the gig economy rolled around, that only fueled it. What started in like the late 2000s with platforms like Uber, TaskRabbit, and Fiverr offering quick, flexible ways to earn extra money exploded in the mid 2010s as more apps and platforms and marketplaces began to pop up. By the late 2010s, it wasn't just like driving around and people delivering food. Every hobby, every interest, every skill was being reframed as something that you could monetize and make a hustle out of. Do you bake bread for fun? Start selling it on Instagram. Or you enjoy photography? Open an Etsy print shop. Would you like dogs? Go walk other people's dogs for cash. But look, if you are going to be glued to your phone 24/7 trying to look productive, you may as well look good doing it. Burger has kindly sponsored this video, and that's where I have gotten these sick phone cases. I am obsessed. I'm obviously on a bit of a neutrals binge at the moment. This? Are you joking? It's a mirror. It's got flame. Like, are you kidding? This is the coolest case I've ever seen. Like, what do you mean? These make phone cases feel like more of an accessory than a phone case. They've got over 300 designs. You can literally match your phone case to your vibe, whether that's minimal, floral, animal print, which we've got here. I think this is so sick. They are super lightweight, and this is one thing I love about Burger is they are lightweight phone cases, but they are super protective. They're shock absorbing. The edges are raised to protect your screen and your camera lens. They are scratch resistant, which if you are me is a necessity. I've had other Burger phone cases on my phone for probably over a year now, and they are a godsend. I'm never going back. As I said, they are aesthetically pleasing enough to look like an accessory more than a phone case. They also do matching phone cases, and this is my favorite new thing from Burger. When have you seen a power bank that looks like this? Power bank, it's magnetic, clips to the back of your phone, and your phone charges. Is this real? It is. It's from Burger. And you can try these out yourself. Burger gave me a code for you guys, so you can get 20% off site-wide plus an additional 5% off with my code briannex5. So that's 25% off in total, and you can use that along with their buy two get two free deal. So you buy 2 phone cases and you can get 2 free. You can team up with a friend and get that and get some really cheap, really good quality phone cases. If you want your phone to feel cute and protected, I can't recommend Burger enough. Again, use the code briannex5 or the link in my description, and thanks again to Burger for sponsoring this video. Platforms like Etsy, Fiverr, Upwork, TikTok Shop, even Patreon, which you can go follow me on Patreon if you like these videos and you want to support the channel, because that is the best way to do it. That's how I'm able to make these videos. The irony of this whole conversation is not lost on me. And if you're not a fan of Patreon, go check out my clothing brand. A bunch of cool stuff over there. They're the 2 best ways to support the channel. But these platforms made it easier than ever for people to monetize all of their hobbies and turn their personal interests into a stream of income. But the normalization of all of this also meant it was a lot harder for people to just do things because they enjoy it, like just to do a hobby for the enjoyment of the hobby, not to post it on social media and be the absolute best at it, not to make money off it, just to enjoy it and be bad at it if you want. Even all of our downtime can be reframed as productive if you film it and upload it. And as a creator, the irony of this discussion is not lost on me. I feel this in my soul. This is an issue that I have repeatedly run into, and now after being a content creator for so long, I feel I have found a good line that I draw in the sand, that I'm like, okay, this is my personal time, this is my content creation stuff. They do overlap a lot of the time. The lines do blur, but finding someone to draw that line in the sand is extremely important. These days, the real challenge is it's not monetizing your hobbies, it's trying to keep one that isn't monetized. In a culture where everything is a potential business opportunity, simply existing without monetizing it or sharing it or creating something out of it can feel like wasted potential, especially when that is the message that everyone is giving you from all angles. And there are entire industries dedicated to reminding you of that every single day. Somewhere along the way, work hard, play hard turned into work hard and then work harder. And then when you're done with that, work harder again. And then after that, just keep. The internet has basically taken hustle culture and cranked it up to nightmare mode. Algorithms reward grind with me content, the study with me lives, the morning routine vlogs, the CEO of my life reels. Productivity isn't something that you just do anymore. It's also a performance now. And aesthetic productivity sells. If you want to make money online, jump headfirst into aesthetic productivity. My God. And all of this content is not just made to inspire people. It's made to sell planners or to sell apps, courses, subscription boxes, and anything else that will make you feel like you're one purchase away from having your life completely together. And that end goal will never happen. It's a self-feeding loop. It's an Ouroboros. You will never reach the end and be peak productivity, peak grind set. The point is that there is no end. It's just constant improvement and constant whittling away at your humanity to reach this unattainable goal. And a lot of the time, it's not even about being productive. It's just about looking more productive than the person next to you. And because of that, you've got guys like the 21 days a week dude claiming to have hacked time by splitting his days into 3 chunks, and that places him elevated above everyone else because he's just so productive. He's rewritten time. That's how productive he is, but not you though. And mind you, nature, by the way, bless her cotton socks, actually made a perfect balance of night owls and morning people so that we night owls could guard your asses at night and keep the species alive. You're welcome, by the way. But what have we done with that? We have taken that been like, absolutely not, and we've forced everyone into one specific rigid lifestyle that doesn't work for most people. And it's only really a small percentage of people that actually thrive under this system that we've got set up, and those people are usually male who have their testosterone peak in the morning and then kind of crash at night. Spoiler alert, that kind of schedule doesn't work for female bodies at all. But what part of society has ever been built with women in mind? Let's be honest. Women literally have inner seasons, the same 24-hour cycle of peaking in the morning and crashing at night that men have. We have those energy and hormone shifts over an entire month. And this grind set culture, toxic productivity lifestyle demands that you completely ignore biology and just operate like a machine. And if the machine breaks, that's your fault somehow. Never mind the fact that this entire setup is completely unnatural. Also, possibly an unpopular opinion, just my personal opinion, I do think if you are thriving under the current system, there's something wrong with you. If you are thriving under a system that is this unnatural and this unhealthy for human biology, and that's where you're thriving, I'm side-eyeing you. But I digress. Because for most of human history, our job description was very simple. We sat around, we ate berries, we went on a hunt, we had sex, we hung out with our friends and family. That's what it was. Work was seasonal, it was flexible, or it was done in short bursts. It was never this like never-ending Monday energy that we've all normalized. If you look at hunter-gatherer societies, anthropologists estimate that we did about 15 to 20 hours a week of work, or what we would consider work. So that is hunting, gathering, making tools, tending fires, building shelters. The rest of the time was socializing, storytelling, making art, sitting around, talking, chatting, or just resting, just existing as human beings. Even early farmers, as backbreaking as the work was back then, didn't grind in the way that we do now. Was the work physically harder? Obviously. Was it as mentally draining and anti-human and soul-crushing and completely at odds with our biology? Absolutely not. Seasons dictated the workload, and there were long periods of downtime naturally built in. You know what none of them were doing? You know what no human on planet Earth that has ever existed was doing up until, I don't know, 30 years ago? Sitting in front of a blue screen for 40 hours a week. We have cooked this so bad. It's only been in the last couple of centuries, basically since like the Industrial Revolution, that we've decided that every single day should be a full-on productivity sprint. Up until then, this was not normal. And somehow we've taken that model that was initially designed for factories and we've applied it to knowledge work, to creative work, even to our hobbies. So we're working twice as hard as any human ever has, for longer hours, with fewer natural breaks, with far less payoff, and we have the hubris to call this progress. This makes no sense. And TikTok in particular is full of this stuff. The morning routines, the productive day in my life, a Huberman and Joe Rogan mashup of like grind set, biohacking, and just enough pseudoscience to make it feel legitimate, even though it's not most of the time. And the algorithm traps you. As I said, there is big money in this industry, so you watch one cold plunge video, all of a sudden your feed is nothing but biohacks and side hustle pictures. And it's not enough to be healthy, you have to look healthy in 4K 24/7 publicly. And if you want a case study of where this obsession can end up, just look at Brian Johnson, the millionaire tech guy trying to reverse his aging. He first went viral on TikTok for things like getting regular blood transfusions from his 17-year-old son because he believed that younger blood plasma could slow or even reverse aging. For the record, the research on this claim is, let's just say, not very conclusive. Now he's got a Netflix deal and an entire daily schedule mapped out to the minute in the pursuit of de-aging. We're talking 5 a.m. wake-ups, 100+ supplements a day, red light therapy, green juice, strength training, and endless medical tests to make sure he's optimizing his optimization. Every single hour is accounted for. Meanwhile, somewhere in Italy, there is a 70-year-old man who has lived off nothing but cigarettes, cured meat, and wine, who still looks better than Brian and will definitely outlive him. So toxic productivity kind of has a lot in common with a cult or like an MLM in, I think, a less structured way. There's doctrine, it's full of buzzwords like mindset and discipline and no excuses. There are gurus who are making money off all of it, who are telling you that the reason you're not where you want to be is because you're not sacrificing enough. And there are always countless examples on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and social media in general telling you what you should be doing, not because it's realistic, but because it sells a dream. And then there's people just peddling garbage. You've got people like Russell Brand hawking a magical amulet, which I think may be a direct quote from him.
I wear this magical amulet. Place is full of Wi-Fi and all sorts of evil energies, all of the signals, corruptible and corrupting.
That supposedly protects you from Wi-Fi and evil energies. Also, I think a direct quote. He's brandishing a necklace that protects you from corrupting signals. What does any of this mean? I don't know, but it's priced at a cool $239.99. That is $366 Australian, if you were curious. The whole thing is folded up neatly into the narrative of selling mysticism as self-care and productivity. Followers who were once mocking hustle culture are now absorbing conspiratorial wellness merch. That's pretty much all this is. And this whole grift would be hilarious if so many people weren't actively falling for it. But this isn't specific to Russell Brand. There are countless celebrities that do this kind of stuff. Goop by Gwyneth Paltrow, I feel like you could put under this umbrella. The Belle Gibson saga, every detox tea that has ever existed. The grind set doesn't have an end goal. The goal is the grind. And with this like constant visibility of high achievers that, again, for most of human history, we were not exposed to this many people. We were not exposed to this much information and didn't have this much comparison with every other person on planet Earth. We see so many like privileged, high achieving individuals, and caveat, high achieving could mean their parents are rich and it just looks like they are high achievers when in reality they haven't worked all that hard for it. Very important thing to remember. But with this constant pressure of like successful people around us at all times, the fear of falling behind becomes like a 24/7 background noise to the point where even rest can feel like failure. Rest, by the way, isn't an option. It's not optional. If you don't rest, your body will choose a time for you to rest, and it's not going to be when you want it to be. And this isn't ambition. They're branding it as ambition, but that's not what it is. It's a well-orchestrated anxiety feedback loop that conveniently points you in the direction of supplements or subscription memberships that you can buy to fix yourself. And in a world where everything feels like it's slipping further and further out of our control, where the things that we want and need are actively getting harder and harder to reach, it does make us cling to our routines and cling to these little pockets of our existence that we can control, where we dictate the rules, where ticking off a to-do list or perfecting a morning routine feels like a win. It's something tangible and somewhat stable in a reality where the goalposts are constantly being moved. Again, you might not be able to buy a house or take time off from work or go on holidays or spend time with your family because you're too busy grinding. But hey, you can buy this sleep tracker. It'll gamify your rest. It'll send you little colored graphs. It'll make you feel like you've got at least one part of your life under control. Obviously, it comes with an app that has a monthly subscription. So there is no finish line to hustle culture, because if you did ever actually cross that point, they would have nothing left to sell you. Your constant discontent is the point that makes you a good customer. Self-optimization inherently does not have a finish line by design. There's no moment where you're officially done. There's nowhere that you're going to reach peak efficiency, because the second that you fix one thing, there's another flaw that's waiting to be optimized. Sleep better, work faster, be more efficient, eat cleaner, wake up earlier, track your dreams, track your moods, track your bowel movements, track your tracking, optimize your optimization. And again, it's so much worse now because we are consuming so much more information than at any other time in human history. Roughly 34 gigabytes a day, which is like 5 times more than the average person just a few decades ago, and hundreds of times more than someone living 100 years ago. Back then, your information diet may have been like a newspaper, a couple of conversations, whatever gossip floated through the local pub. Now it is an endless fire hose that you cannot switch off, and by design, we are all forced to interact with. We are constantly seeing people who are doing more, who are earning more, who look better, who have more than us, who are out living their best lives before 7 a.m. every single day without fail. The comparison never stops, so the not feeling enough never stops either. Because here's the thing, they're not selling you results, they're selling you the idea that you are broken without their solution. And once you're bought in, again, there's an endless list of supplements and gadgets and trackers and whatever else that will be fixing you forever. And brands have obviously figured out a way to get in on this as well. Because now even rest is commodified. Now you can buy $90 loungewear to recover in, a $200 candle that aligns your circadian rhythm, a $300 weighted blanket that promises to regulate your REM cycles, all the while you are still glued to your laptop at 11 p.m. We've reached the point now that even rest is for sale, and even rest feels like a competition. You can't just take a nap. It has to be a nap in perfect mood lighting, no big lights, a very aesthetic, well-scented nap in linen sheets with a productivity podcast in the background going, so you're technically still leveling up. It's not about helping you live better. It's about filling a void created by this 24/7 attempt and struggle to grind constantly and be as optimized as possible that leaves no room for being a human being. Gen Z and millennials didn't get the work hard and you'll get ahead deal. We didn't get that one. We didn't get that package. We've inherited a global economy that has been in varying degrees of chaos, pretty much our entire lives. Wages that haven't kept up with inflation, unaffordable housing, unaffordable grocery, rising cost of living, a gig economy that's sold as flexibility but often just means no benefits, no security, and a constant hustle just to tread water. And the bar is always moving. The goalposts are always moving. No matter how many systems you have, no matter how many routines you have, no matter how you stack your hustle, you'll never really be peak optimized. Even the pushback against hustle culture, like the quiet quitting, those concepts and trends that are going around that are like mostly Gen Z's solution to pushing back against a workforce that is not rewarding in any way. Even those things get swallowed by the same machine. They get monetized, they get commercialized, they get turned into merch. It's rebellion repackaged as a brand. I do remember when like slow living started trending, and I thought maybe it could be a genuine pushback against hustle culture and toxic productivity. Slower mornings, less screen time, more stepping away from the digital world and from work and prioritizing things that are actually good for our health. But like everything else, it just got monetized. Suddenly it just meant $300 linen robes, artisanal cups to drink your morning coffee out of. Sorry, matcha, your morning matcha. My bad. Caffeine is not very slow living of me. Or curated extremely expensive skincare so you can film your barefaced morning routine. You know, even rest and recharging became another aesthetic to sell, not something that you can genuinely just enjoy. It used to be that like the midlife crisis hit somewhere between the 40s and 50s, after you've ticked off most of your life milestones and realized the clock was ticking. Now people are having full-blown existential meltdowns at 25. And despite what a lot of boomers say, it's not because young people are just dramatic, it's because our whole timeline is broken. In your early 20s, you're told to enjoy your youth because you'll never get it back, but also somehow find a career. But if you want to get paid, you have to go to uni. But if you have to go to uni, you have to pay off your student debt. Also, you should be saving for a house that costs 12 times your salary, even if you're earning a really, really, really good salary. Somehow you also have to travel and stay fit and stay social, also have a side hustle, and also never get burnt out by any of those things. By 25, a lot of people have already burned through multiple jobs. They've already got a degree and found out that the degree is not really going to get them to be where they want to be, despite that being the selling point when they started the degree. And most people by 25 have clocked the fact that the world is an abject shit show with really no way out, and they're realizing that a happy, stable life with retirement isn't really an end goal anymore, it's more of a myth. So toxic productivity isn't a personal failure. It's about an economy that profits when you're overextended, exhausted, and convinced that you're just being lazy. It chips away at creativity, at relationships, pretty much at anything that makes life worth living, and even your ability to think critically, because you are so busy being wrapped up in all of this noise and nonsense to think about anything else. Every single moment of your life becomes scheduled, monetized, and measured. It's why people are now skipping, you know, evening dinners with their friends because it clashes with their nighttime routine. Why we celebrate creators that work 16-hour days as some kind of noble sacrifice instead of like a glaring red flag, a slow motion burnout waiting to happen. Eventually your life stops feeling like life and starts feeling more like a spreadsheet. And the thing about chasing an optimized life is that you forget that life was never meant to be optimized. It was just meant to be lived and experienced. You know, culturally and societally, we worship people that had these random success stories. You know, they worked 60-hour weeks and went from the bottom to the top. Unfortunately, when you unpack a lot of those stories, the bottom that they started from is still being funded by their parents, funded by wealthy parents, having access to money that most people don't. But we don't focus on that. We focus on the come up, we focus on the success, and then we use that as a benchmark for all of our lives, when that's just not realistic. It's ignoring a whole part of the equation that made that possible to begin with. And of course, that's not everyone. And of course, working hard is not inherently bad. This video is about this specific brand of toxic productivity that is kind of corrosive, not about trying to find some balance or, you know, having a bit of optimization in a way that helps. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, to be perfectly clear. But my advice, go sit under a tree and be bored. Really, let yourself be bored, really, really bored, because boredom is the most rebellious thing that you can do in a world and a society that wants you grinding until you burn out. Also, boredom forces you to reflect, it forces you to be present, it forces your brain to come up with creative ideas. Go sit under a tree, come back and tell me you don't feel better. Leave your results below, please. Everyone go outside, do that right now and leave your results below. Thank you very much. And because this is the internet, I do want to say this video is not an indictment against hard work. Work hard if you want. This is a critique on the industry of toxic productivity, to be clear. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below if you've watched this far in. Leave a like, it really helps out. And I will see you in a few days with a new video.